The boys are back in Blue Lock, and the hype is more real than it has ever been. No, seriously, the last few chapters, or honestly, the entire story has been building up to the Under U20 World Cup, and I couldn't be more locked in. But before we talk about what Ego is about to cook up, let me just rewind a little bit and recap the individual assignments he had given the boys. You see, back in chapter 305, Ego gave every single one of the 23 players a hardcore personalized assignment. It was so that during the 14-day break, each of them can turn into the necessary ingredients for a Under 20 World Cup victory. And as always, Ego was taking this absolutely 100% seriously. Isagi, for example, was sent a parcel full of game-changing plays from around the world to analyze and absorb. And then in chapter 307, Ego sent him straight to Barcelona, Spain, just so he could analyze the Spanish New Gen 11 striker, Bunny Iglesias. Isagi runs into him in Spain, and then during the match, he watches him score his 12th goal of the season. Barou, on the other hand, was sent to a random university's American football training with a letter that said, "Go there if you want to become king again." Bachira's assignment was teaching football to little kids. I guess this was Ego's way of making Bachira reconnect with his childhood self. Chigiri was told to throw away his legs and become a fish. Basically, brutal swimming based cardio to match his top speed. I wonder how much that is going to improve his speed. Kunigami is told to become the ultimate physical combat warrior by doing actual combat training. Next, Shido's assignment was literally to just do everything that's on his bucket list without worrying about money, because Blue Lock will cover the expenses. And you know, he logged off as much of the Blue Lock budget as possible. I mean, we literally see him skydiving and just having the time of his life. Meanwhile, Rin was seen meditating and reflecting on his ego, just trying to find some peace and clarity away from the constant obsession over Sei and Isagi. Though to be fair, Vegeta does the same thing in Dragon Ball Super. Still, it's crazy how different Rin and Shido's assignments are. Anyways, then there is Ryo. He is told that as Blue Lock special soldier, he must become the master copy of all the remaining players. As in, copy the styles of the other 22 players. Basically, everyone's assignment was set up in a way to improve their confidence and lock them onto the idea of becoming the #1 protagonist of the Under 20 World Cup. Alright, now that we've gone over what the boys were up to these 14 days, let's see where the boys are at right now at this very moment. Isagi's parents give him a wholesome send-off, and with that, Isagi reunites with the boys at Blue Lock. So the boys meet and greet each other in their own ways, and then Ego pulls up. He immediately jumps straight to the point and makes it clear that thanks to the 14-day special training period, none of them are the same players they were 2 weeks ago. Every single one of them has achieved a new weapon on top of their previous weapons. Then, just as he finishes complimenting them, Ego strips away any feel-good sentiment and tells them to throw away things like bonds, shared history, or any thought of playing for the sake of Blue Lock itself. Just like that, Ego makes it brutally clear that this Blue Lock system is built on mutual exploitation. He is using them to build his dream, and they need to use him to reach theirs. And finally, he finishes his speech with one last point. He tells them, even though they carry the hopes of Japanese soccer, but so what? Don't let this be the peak. Don't cling to memories. Go beyond. Now, after finishing this speech, Ego reveals the match schedule for the U20 World Cup. Japan's first opponent is Nigeria. They are last year's kings of Africa. And guys, like I mentioned in the previous video, Nigeria is no joke. They've won the U17 World Cup 5 times, more than anyone in history. At the youth level, they're actual undeniable powerhouse. So don't even think for a second that the author is going to make this an easy warm-up match for the Blue Lock boys or anything silly like that. Now after Nigeria, Japan's next next opponent will be France. They are quite literally the #1 ranked team in the world. Not only do they have a new Gen 11 player, they also have Loki as their master striker. Not to mention a player like Charles, who was able to synergize with Shido. Again, keep in mind that Itoshi made it clear in chapter 308 that he won't be participating in the group stage. Yes, Japan will be playing Nigeria and France without their own new Gen 11 player. And it's not just Nigeria and France who are going to be the problems at the group stage. Japan's third opponent, England, is also going to be brutal. They are the birthplace of soccer, or should I say football, considering the context, and well, they've got a new Gen 11 player too. So no matter how you look at it, this group is absolutely brutal. The way I see it, Japan would get overwhelmed by Nigeria in the beginning, but ultimately win with a decent goal difference. Isagi, Rin, Shido, Barou and Bachira are already very close to the new Gen 11 tier, and the rest of the players aren't very far behind either. So overall, while I do acknowledge Nigeria as a genuine challenge, the Blue Lock boys will still surpass the world. They will still lose to France though, because France is being built up as the main antagonist of the Under-20 World Cup. Still, after winning against Nigeria and losing to France, the boys will win against England. The two teams that will advance from this group will be Japan and France. Though of course, both Ego and the boys also understand the stakes, which is why with only 30 days left till the tournament, Ego announces the final training camp that will fully prepare them for the World Cup. But hold on, the chapter's not done yet. We cut to Nagi. He is thinking about his decision to reject Buratsuta's offer and he wonders if he made the right choice. But he does admit that accepting the offer wasn't an option, because accepting a money-grabbing slave contract like what Buratsuta suggested would have gone against everything Blue Lock stands for. He realizes that soccer isn't something worth betraying himself over. Then suddenly he remembers that scene from chapter 300 where Isagi told him not to quit soccer. He also thinks about his friends from school asking him if he is going professional, considering how he still has an offer. And as he thinks this, Nagi affirms that yes, he still has that 24 million offer from Munchen City. Then he asks himself the real question: what does he actually want? What sets his heart on fire? Is it soccer itself, or is it the idea of Blue Lock? And what is his ego even trying to tell him? Just when it feels like this chapter is going to end with Nagi's introspection, a certain someone appears. It's the monk, IGAGURI. The chapter ends with him confronting Nagi and calling Nagi a lazy pain in the ass. There's also a line from the editor that mentions the battlefield overseas. So it seems everything is going to go exactly like how I said it would in the previous chapter's video. And as for next week's chapter 310, it's going to be titled Just Quit Already. And by the way, it drops the same day as the final chapter of episode Nagi. So I bet you anything that next week's chapter is going to be absolute peak. What do you think? Where do you see Nagi's arc going now that IGAGURI has entered that chat? Drop your theories and favorite moments from chapter 309 in the comment section. I read every comment. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss chapter 310 breakdown next week. Thanks for watching, and with that said, I'm locking off.